It is 7:00 PM. We're gonna call the council meeting to order. The first item is flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, we have roll call. Ms. Bollenbacher.
Here.
Mr. Chandler.
Here.
Ms. Compitello.
Here.
Mr. Hope.
Here.
Ms. Polkownik will be coming late from her flight. Mr. Oliver, I'm here. Mr. Vidilla.
Here.
Mayor Perry. Absent. Solicitor Corbel.
Here.
Engineer Keenan.
Here.
And Manager Price.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. All right. Excuse me. The first item is our consent agenda. So we have the council meeting minutes from February 13th, the bill list from February 27th, and also the reports that are all listed on the agenda. We need a motion to approve the February 27th, 2025 consent agenda pending bill list approval by the borough president, manager, and treasurer.
So moved.
Oh, okay.
Second.
Oh, okay, Mr. Hof and Mr. Rodilla seconds. Any questions or comments? Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public comments on agenda items. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any item appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council.
Okay.
Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitor is our assigned timekeeper. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Yeah, I knew.
There wasn't any on.
Oh, there was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Greg Watnick, 1770.
No, great. Yeah. You have to
There you go.
say.
When the blue light comes on. There you go. All right, there you go.
Greg Wozniak, 1773 Bar Avenue. On the Crafton website, I saw that the lateral work was done for the new maintenance building, and it said on the Facebook page that it was sized for future occupancy. And I was wondering if someone could be specific about what it is sized at and what that future occupancy is planned during the engineer's report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wozniak. Nobody else on anybody online, please raise your hand. All right. Our first item is our president's report. The only thing I want to do is to acknowledge our Public Works Department. We've had a really tough few months here, and they've not struggled, but they've done an incredible job with all of the road clearing, the ice that we've had, the brick streets, and now, the salt and everything is tearing up our roads. So they're going to be out filling those potholes with temporary, whatever it is, asphalt, and then getting them ready for the spring. And the spring is the busiest season for public works because everything is starting to sprout, and then they have to do maintenance. And the street sweeper will be taken undercover and ready to go out actually in a few weeks. So very much appreciate all the work that goes on behind the scenes from Public Works that we don't see, and many times we're asleep while they're doing it. Mayor's report. Mayor is not here tonight, and she's on vacation for the reason for that. Solicitor's report.
2 quick items. First, we'll have an executive session after the meeting to discuss personnel matters. And then I did want to let council and Jim and Larry know too. I didn't even get a chance to forward this to you, but we did get an order from Judge McGinley dismissing the preliminary objections to the eminent domain matter for the separation project on Broadhead. The two multi-unit properties. So it's as if we have it. So we can move forward. And I do see that Larry has an update about that because I know EPA has been hitting the brakes on it a little. And then secondly, there's only one property left, Perrine, and my understanding is that that will be addressed, or there's a meeting there in a couple weeks, and that's really the last piece. So it's moving along swimmingly. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Corbel. Engineers report, Mr. Keenan.
Hey, good evening. First item, the Broadhead Sewer Project. Since the last meeting, we've had further communications with the EPA, giving them what they want, finalizing documents and addressing their concerns. We did receive email approval from them and that they have everything that they need to proceed and that we can go out to bid. So hopefully to do that the next few weeks or so. The other piece, the Perrine Street property owner, some progress has been made. We did set a date with their attorney to go on site and do a visit. That is on March 14th. So looking forward to that. The next item is Ewing Road. Again, this is an ongoing issue. The infrastructure committee is looking into addressing the road closure and exploring options. Gateway has been assigned to this task. They're going to put together a memo regarding their alternatives, analysis, and the possible options, recommendations. I met out there on site earlier this week with the geotech engineer to do some investigation, answer any questions they had, but they're looking to take that material, put that in their memo. We should get that probably sometime next week. Moving right along, public stairs, this project has been completed. We received our reimbursement check from the county. Just as it says here, the last update is to do a project audit, and we're looking to get that coordinated here soon. Moving on, the C20 sewer separation project. This project was awarded at the last meeting to the lowest contractor. Since then, we've been passing back and forth contract documents, getting signatures where they're needed. And in the notice to proceed, the start date of March 17th was posted. So this has an expected start date of that, the 17th. We'll put out additional notifications on social media next week. Next item, the Public Works Building. A. Morante, the contractor, did complete their work for the sanitary sewer lateral. One of the tasks in this project was to CCTV the line after it was finally constructed. After reviewing that footage, did notice some issues. I think there was like 2 sags in the pipe that they need to go out and address. I was made aware that that was being started today. So we'll see how that comes out hopefully soon. And further work on the building interiors being completed, making some coordination with the electrical contractor, seeing what the best route for the electrical design it is for this building to go. Once that's done, we will go out to bid as soon as that is decided on. To address the question earlier about the sewer lateral, again, this is for the maintenance building and the maintenance building alone. It's size for the existing staff that will be transferred from the current building over to the new building and nothing more. This pipe, it ties in with the existing line and is expected to carry the same flow that it does now. Moving on, the sewer O&M repairs program this year, it was been currently out for advertisement. Those bids closed today. Have not received them yet, but we'll disclose them at the next meeting. Just a reminder that this year's program has 3 separate contracts: open excavation, manhole to manhole, and spot lining. So looking to award 3 different contracts. The next item is the Station Street retaining wall. This is the failed retaining wall up on Station and Division Street near the PRT property. So the task was to look into different options for replacing this wall. Since then, we did receive 3 different potential options. 2 of them are block wall styles, and 1 is a soldier pile and concrete panel wall. Those costs range between $157K and $192K. And the plan moving forward is to look at this in the more detail at the next infrastructure meeting 2 Mondays from now. The next item is the People's Gas Main work. No update here, continuing on with the same update. The gas line work has been completed. And right now we're just waiting to do the restoration work early in the spring once the weather improves. Next is the Linwood and Noble Parks. The surveyor has been out on both sites collecting data, putting together those surveys. They had sent in some initial surveys for review. I had some comments on them, seeking some more information, topographical information and data like that. So they're gonna update the surveys based on that, and we'll get those as soon as they're done. And the last item, permit applications, just reminder what you see on Savvy on newly received permit applications and utility work. Latest one here from PA American Water with the issuance date of the 21st. Looking at 48 square feet of repair at 51 Bradford Avenue. And with that said, that concludes the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Keenan. Any questions, Council? Okay, moving on to the manager's report, Mr. Price.
Great, thank you, and thank you, Larry. I appreciate that we're moving towards even more transparency. That's good. Thank you. So first thing on my manager's report is the Trail Study Committee. We had beautiful weather on Sunday. We went out for our first. We went out for basically an exploratory review of the 2 major trails that we're looking at doing that feasibility study for, the Baker's Acres Trail and the Creekside Trail. It was a great experience. We put out a nice picture of it on Facebook over the last couple of days, so you can check that out. We had more than 15 people show up. So that was a really nice experience on Sunday. We also have put out the request for proposals for hiring a planning firm to do that feasibility study. Those responses, we've received several questions and interest from lots of folks here in the region and across the state. Those responses are due on March 7th, and a subcommittee of 6 members of the Trail Committee will start reviewing those RFP responses on Monday, March 10th. With that, I'm actually going to hand it back to Mike, since the rest of these are really fall under his purview.
Thank you, Jim. Good evening, council. The following 4 items, starting with the DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development at the state level, has awarded us $325,000 for what I will generally characterize as walkability improvements downtown. Some of you might recall we worked on this application last summer. Kirsten was a big help in this process. And we identified a number of improvements totaling roughly $3 million, which was our grant application. And we got about 10% of that. 10% is a lot better than 0%. So I'm sure in coming days, Jim will approach council to discuss what sort of consensus building process you would like to see regarding what improvements should we make with $325,000. The rules of the grant stipulate that this is not a planning grant. So this does not produce pieces of paper. This produces real results on the street, real streetscaping, real beautification. So so the opportunities are endless with $325,000. 224 awardees in the state, split an $80 million pot. Big thank you to Senator Fontana for getting us over the finish line. And thank you to Megan Winters, who's on Planning Commission, who gave us early heads up that we won an award. So more to come on this topic in future meetings, but good news overall for sure. Summer intern, as you recall, we are in the habit of hiring summer interns, and they're funded by the local government academy. So this does not come out of Crafton Borough's general fund. We have selected an intern. He's a graduate student in public administration at Pitt. His name is Kennedy Short. He's from Iowa. He's extraordinarily sharp. He's probably going to be an elected person someday. He sits on student cabinet, and like I said, he's working on a master's toward public administration. His scope of work for the summer, so to speak, will be to help the Business Development Subcommittee established by the Planning Commission. Now we're on item D in the manager's update. Established by Planning Commission and led by AJ Pescaric and Megan Winters as well. The goals of the Business Development Committee are very broadly characterized into three things. Goal number one is work with existing businesses within Crafton to understand their needs, how we can help them, and then do everything we can to help them in whatever ways that we can. Number two is to energize downtown Crafton's sidewalks with hopefully new businesses, perhaps some events and beautification. And then number three is look to work with the property owners in the shopping center district to see if there are opportunities to beautify and modernize that area as well. So those are the general goals of the Business Development Committee. 7 individuals thus far have been appointed to the committee. And let me read their names really quick, just for the record. Kristen Skyuli, Greg Wozniak, Logan Drew, Abby Kelly, Jennifer Shorthouse, Heidi Munn, and Nick Kelly. My understanding is we're looking at 2 more private sector folks that do business in Crafton to maybe join the committee. And then finally, as council is aware, we are working through website redesign. Our platform for that is MuniBit. The feedback that we have received from council's communications committee is that the draft website needs improvement. So I approached MuniBit and said, do you have professionals on staff that can help us polish the website? And if so, how much will that be? And thankfully they said yes, and it will be free. So there's a meeting scheduled. Mike Hof and Coletta are invited to kind of a launch meeting so we can express the areas of improvement that we're looking to see. So what I'm figuring is we can make it through this free design process, see what comes out on the other side, and then start making decisions from there. And then that concludes my updates.
Could I just add, since you announced the DCED award that we got, which is really good news, I wanted to add a little bit of additional context. I don't recall how much we really spoke about that last year. We were talking about a different grant that we were hoping to go for, that I do recall we talked about in council, and we're starting to put it together, or rather Jim and Mike and Larry primarily were starting to put it together, and we're partway through kind of working through the details and realized we weren't going to have something ready to qualify in time. And then this grant from DCED, we found out very last minute. And I just wanted to give props to Mike and to Jim and to Larry. And I did not really do anything. I attended one meeting. You guys pivoted and put together that grant application in a remarkable turnaround. And we really did not think that it was incredibly likely. We were kind of using something already in progress and thought, why not put our name in? But we got this grant, and I want to give you props because that was really amazing. And now we have funding to do some pedestrian improvements.
Thank you.
Now, I want to acknowledge Mr. Dandisi also was involved as part of the process, in addition to Senator Fontana, both.
Good. Excellent.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Tedesco. Standing committee reports, Finance Administration Sustainability, Mr. Hope.
Thank you. The Finance Administration and Sustainability Committee met last week for our monthly meeting, and we did review the 2025 budget to actual numbers. It was all of 30 days worth of budget because it was only through the end of January. But I would like to say that overall, everything is trending appropriately. General fund, road fund, and sewer fund are, for the most part, under percentage of target for 12 months, but that's normal at the beginning of the year. Most of them were trending better than they were last year. So that's heading in a good direction. I jumped over that. I'm sorry. I'm going to jump to 3, then I'll come back to the other one. So the general fund is trending lower. It's at 3% than target. And when I say target, I mean, if you take 100% of what we have budgeted and divided by 12 months, you get 8.3. So looking at it split up equally across that. But general fund income trending lower at 3%, but that's higher than last year. The expenses in the general fund are trending lower at 7%, just slightly lower than target, but also higher than than last year. Road fund income is trending lower. It's only at 1% than target, and there's reason for that because we had decided to move the money around in order to handle some of the C20 work. But it's also higher than previous year, actually. And then road fund expenses are trending lower. They're at 0%. Because we haven't done any road projects yet as of January 30th. Sewer funds trending higher at 11% than target, and that's also higher than the previous year. And sewer fund expenses are trending lower at 6% than target, and that's also higher than previous year. So overall, on target in terms of budget for 30 days in. Jumping back real quick, the police collective bargaining agreement. The current collective bargaining agreement expires at the end of this year. So we are preparing to do an audit and a review of that in preparation for it. And lastly, waste management refunds. We are pursuing possible refunds from the former waste collection service provider for breach of contract. Essentially, that is that they were supposed to be giving single axle service in alleyways over the past 10 years. And for at least part of that contract, were not. They were doing double axle in alleys, and we were paying extra for that. So we are looking for a refund, or partial refund at least, from them for that, as well as for missed pickups. So we'll report further once we know more about the refund status, possible amounts. So, and that's all for my report.
I acknowledge the due diligence of the finance committee and looking at those refunds, going after them, and also, to the budget. One thing about the budget is when we talk about target, we don't do a monthly budget, we do a yearly budget. So it's year divided by 12. So you have income that comes in from trash and everything at high points throughout the year. So it fluctuates by month, but we look at it as the overall.
And the more important thing is comparison to last year where we were. And that's why I try to include that. So, yeah.
Great. Right. Infrastructure and land use, Ms. Comptello.
Yeah, I don't have any major updates, just some, holdovers from previous meetings to give people, reminders and updates on where we're doing. We did get 2 grants that we announced in the beginning of January. One for electric vehicle chargers. That one was not a grant that we led here in Crafton, but we were a part of a larger grant application that was led by the county. The county got a substantial amount of money from the US DOT. That one is on hold. We were included in that grant application. We were in line to get 8 charging stations through that fund, but that funding is on hold. So we'll continue to give updates as we find out more about whether that grant will be coming or not. And then also we got funding for an energy audit that will be used on our municipal buildings. That was a $50,000 grant through Pennsylvania State DEP. And we do have that funding secured, and that's moving forward. And that's all for my report.
Thank you. Planning Commission, Mr. Rodella.
Hello. So we had our last planning commission last Tuesday or this Tuesday. It was a lot of public feedback, which we always appreciate. Mike did a presentation about some proposed changes to the zoning code, which were discussed, and but overall it was a lot of good conversation. So please continue to give your feedback. Please continue to come to these meetings. Our next one is on March 25th at 6:30 in this room. And we are also planning a public engagement event just to continue to get feedback and help to educate the public on what the zoning code is and isn't. There still seems to be a lot of questions, some misconceptions that we want to iron out and make sure everyone's aware of what the zoning code update really means. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. And one of the suggestions to the Planning Commission is to have maybe moving a little bit from an open house to an educational section of taking sections of the proposed zoning and going through it, explaining what it actually means, going through that, getting Q&A section by section versus just people rotating from table to table. I'm trying to get questions answered, so that's a suggestion for the planning commission. All right, any questions? Education and Recreation, Ms. Wollenbacher is online, but Mr. Hof is going to report for her tonight.
So the Valentine's Day community dinner actually was the day after our last meeting, but just to reiterate, it was sold out. It was a wonderful success. So that's something that will be considered for future years as well. So the cleanup and shredding day is scheduled for Saturday, April 12th. I believe 9 to 11 is the times. Need to get that confirmed, but I believe 9 to 11 on Saturday, April 12th. There will be dumpsters in the park. It's always held down at Crafton Park. Also then, Arbor Day Tree City USA ceremony is on Saturday, April 26th. It is not the same day as shredding, as it has been in the past. We try to schedule them together, but it didn't work out this year. So, Community Garden Party is on Saturday, May 17th. That's going to be celebrating the 10th anniversary of the community garden, and there'll be more details to come soon about that. July 4th celebration is on Friday, July the 4th. Fall Fest is on Saturday, September 27th. The Celebration of Lights will be Saturday, December 6th. And the Holiday House Tour will be on Sunday, December 14th. And all of those will have more details as they get closer. Ongoing events that are around the community in March and throughout the year. So we have yoga at the library. Reminder to everybody, that's every Monday at 6:30 at the Crafton Library. Class is $5 at the door. Wear comfortable clothes, bring water and your yoga mat. The Crafton Library Story Time with Miss Gabrielle is every Tuesday morning from 11 to 11:30 a.m. And there's also a book club, which is the last Wednesday of every month at the Crafton Library from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. So that's going to be March 26th is the next book club event. So stop into the library and check out a copy of this month's book and then come back to discuss it on March 26th. The monthly card making workshop is the second Thursday of every month from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Crafton Library. And this is where you can learn card making techniques and to make your own unique cards. Dinner at the Crafton Library is the second Friday of every month from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So that'll be on March 14th is the next one. Join us for our conversational book club. Choose a recipe from the month's chosen cookbook and prepare to share it. Stop in to choose your recipe. And also we have the Coffee, Creativity, and Community event, which is every Saturday from noon till 3 p.m. at the Crafton Library. Crafton Public Library, in partnership with the Crafton Recreation Board, invites you to join them to do puzzles, books, games, and coffee's provided or whatever you want. So lots of ongoing events, pretty much all at the Crafton Library. So continue to update on additional events happening in the community as we know about them. As always, Rec Board is always looking for volunteers, so please contact them at Parks and Recreation, Crafton Borough. That's on the website. So just go to the website and go to Parks and Recreation. Volunteers for big events especially is always needed, and we're always saying it right up until the last minute. So the sooner we can get volunteers, the better. Last thing here, the newsletter. Newsletter should be in mailboxes the third week of March. We don't have a definitive date yet, but we'll also share it once it's available.
First week, March 5th.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have something different. I apologize. Thank you. That one was wrong. Spring newsletter is expected to arrive in mailboxes around March 5th. And that, Mike, is that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct. Thank you. Thank you. I know when we had our last meeting, the Community Recreation Board, we weren't 100% sure about dates. So, and also I assume we will post the digital link on social media pages and everything like that once it's out as well. And I believe community groups will be notified soon when articles are due for the next newsletter. So that would be for the summer newsletter, I believe, right? So, and that is everything for the communication and recreation report.
Thank you. Oh. All right, Board Commission recruiting, Ms. Compitello, County.
Sure. So for boards and commissions, we do have current open positions are always posted on the Borough website. You can look at craftonborough.com/commissions to see what is open, what is upcoming, and also how to apply.
Yep.
We'll let her sit down. I'll keep going. You can let me know if you'd like to take over, Pam. We are on our boards and commissions openings. We have one opening currently. It's for the Civil Service Commission. It is an alternate position. We have a 6-year term we're looking to fill, and that will expire in February of 2029. So we are looking for people that is actively open, and we appreciate anyone who's interested in participating. Two positions, that both of those are positioned, 2 6-year terms, both open currently. That's all that's currently open, but we do actively, regularly have positions that are coming up, expiring. Pam, let me give you the choice if you would like to take on the upcoming positions or if you'd like me to keep going.
It sounds like you are doing an amazing job. So please continue. That'd be great.
Oh, we're happy to have you here, though. We do have some upcoming positions. So again, on the website, it shows all positions, everything that is available, when they will come, when they will become open, and who is in there now. But some of the ones that we wanted to highlight that are going to be upcoming a bit sooner, we have a Shade Tree Commission 5-year term that will be open after March 31st, 2025. So that is in about a month. We have 2 Planning Commission positions. These are 4-year terms. These will be open after April 13th, 2025. So that's coming up in about a month and a half. And then the Zoning Hearing Board has 1 3-year term regular position and also 1 alternate seat. And those will both be open at the end of this year. 2 seats opening up as of December 31st, 2025. So if you're interested in any of those, please start preparing your application, and we look forward to having more participants.
And we are accepting applications for Shade Tree and Planning. Right now, it's the 45 days before those ones. So we are able, you can go online and apply for those two positions, in addition to civil service.
We've had a lot of, and Pam especially, I want to give a shout out to, there's been a lot of effort in the last year to fill a lot of seats that became available. And we do have, some great new people in these seats. There are still openings, there are more openings coming up. So this is actually a little shorter than it has been. And it's great to see people signing up to be on these boards and commissions. That is all for that report.
Thank you, Ms. Costello. Council of Governments, Mr. Chandler.
Yes, I did attend the COG meeting with Ms. Bullenbacher. I believe it was last Tuesday in Stowe Township. It was just business as usual, nothing groundbreaking there. And the next meeting is May 20th at 6:30 in Crescent.
March.
I'm sorry, March, yes.
Okay.
Way ahead of where I should be. Yes, March 20th at 6:30 in Crescent. And that's all.
Thank you. Okay, community announcements. Our next council meeting is Thursday, March 13th at 7 o'clock. Summer employment, there's a lot of information here, but we are taking applications. The deadline is coming up for summer employment. So you have to get those applications in very, very soon. This is for all the pool positions, our seasonal public works, cashiers at the pool, lifeguards, everything. We'll have to go through a child abuse background check and drug testing. And the applications are online. And again, March 14th at 4 o'clock is the deadline to apply for those positions. We do get a lot of applications and lots of people come back year after year. So really good opportunities for younger folks or older folks who want to get involved. Trash recycling bill payments. So the discount deadline for the trash bill payments ends tomorrow. And we will have Jordan Tax Service. And I believe it'll be in the room next door for those payments if you want to drop them off from 9 to 12 noon. And you do get the 2% discount. After that, I believe they're due March 31st. Any other comments or events from council? All right, public comment. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Who has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitor is the assigned timekeeper. Please state your name and physical address for the record. So you can just raise your hand. Anybody online, please raise your hand. Okay. With that, meeting is
We got
adjourned.
one.
Oh, we have one. 30 sheets, go ahead.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. I got two questions. I actually wrote them down, but why would Realty Co. in Ingram be approached by Mike to be involved as a private sector company to be involved with the small business committee if they're not within Crafton? Even if they share a border and are a successful business, shouldn't you be targeting businesses that are specifically in Crafton? Why wouldn't we target private sector businesses within the borough? Seeking businesses outside of Crafton just seems inappropriate. One other question, is council aware that Article 2, Section 7 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania dictates that people in public office of trust or profit, which are convicted of infamous crimes or felonies, are rendered ineligible to serve in public office, as well as removed from their position in public office. And public office would be defined as a office of trust or profit. Trust being trust of the people, profit being able to make money from that position. Thanks.
I didn't hear the company he was referring to. Cody, are you still there?
Yep.
What was the company that you had referred to?
Realty Co.
Realty Co.
Correct. Ingram Plaza. Why would we be crossing lines into Ingram, asking other borough companies to join our subcommittee? That makes no sense.
Thank you. I missed that. Okay.
Shall I address that?
Yeah.
Yeah, quickly, Cody, thank you for the comment. The process to recruit the business development committee members, I specifically did not participate in because I didn't think it would be appropriate for my participation helping to select committee members. But I will say that there was an email string having this very discussion that you're bringing up, whether or not we should include tenants that are on the Ingram side of the shopping center. And I recommended to the committee chair people, Megan and AJ, that it's probably a smart idea for two reasons. One, they're in the real estate business within and surrounding Crafton. So they know engagement with the market. And that insight will be very valuable. And two, because most of the shopping center is within Crafton, developing consensus amongst all the tenants will bear fruit into the future should, opportunities for modernization strike at the shopping center itself. So that was that's at least my personal reasoning why it's justified to include some shopping center Ingram side tenants on the committee.
Hey. Okay. Then the second question was around Article 2, Section 7 of the Constitution about public offices ineligible to serve based if they're convicted of felony.
It's in the Constitution. I got the question is, it was like an announcement of what it said, so.
As far as and I can address it, as far as we are aware, there are no public officials that have been convicted of a felony. So none of unless there's news, and you can bring that forward, there are no public officials convicted of a felony. All right. Anybody else online, please raise your hand. Okay, none. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.